What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Next Deal podcast. I am your host, Justin Dossie, along with my wonderful co-host, Vince Hall. Today, we are joined by a friend of ours, Bob Lachance. Bob is a real estate investor. He is a former professional hockey player. He's done over 2,000 deals and is the owner of Riva Global as well, which is a staffing agency for real estate professionals looking for virtual assistants to really help scale your time, scale your business, get your time back. We personally use them and absolutely love our VA. So we'll talk about that here a little bit today. But Bob, welcome and thanks for coming on today, man.
Awesome. Thanks for having me. Love it. And I'm happy to hear that the weather in your area is up and down, just like me here in Connecticut. So thanks for having me.
I've never seen it go from 85 to 25 in 24 hours. That's a first for me.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
I had
I had the AC on 2 days ago.
Yeah. And I'm in here with a space heater running right now because my office gets cold. So
Same.
It's wild. It is wild. We have the same. Like we went from 55 down to 30. So not as drastic as you, but it's all over the map.
Yeah, the 85 is weird for February. That doesn't happen much here in St. Louis in February, but it's going to be nice again this weekend. So
very good.
Well, cool, man. I know there's a lot we can talk about here, but just kind of starting off, we always like to try and find out a little bit about like what got you started in real estate investing, right? You've done over 2,000 deals. You've been in it for a long time. We met probably 5 years ago at this point, I think, at a mastermind. Just kind of talk a little bit about how you got started and why real estate interested you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, long and short, I dropped out of college. I signed a professional contract. I was 2 classes short of getting my degree. So instead of going back, think about this. You're always looking to say, all right, I'll go back to school. I never, every summer came by. I'm like, all right, I'm going to go back. And then before you know it, 8 years goes by and I either had a decision to, jump into an industry that didn't need a degree or go back to school. And I wasn't really interested in going back to school. So, I did a lot of research and figured out that real estate, there's no barriers of entry in real estate. You don't need a degree. You don't need, much of anything to get in this business. So it's like, you know what, let's jump into real estate. Again, I knew nothing about real estate. I lived in a hockey locker room for 8 years and I decided, let's do it. So there's no real big reason why I jumped in, except I didn't want to go back to school.
That's fair. I understand that. I didn't even go to college and I barely graduated high school. And I was like, I don't want to go to school anymore ever again.
Yep. Same thing. So anyway, I did a lot of research, of course, when I was towards the end of my career and I looked at different industries and obviously we all have different stories, but a lot of people made a lot of money in real estate. So I'm like, you know what?
Yeah.
I'm might as well start my own business, and I'm kind of unemployable, if you will. So I like working, and building things myself. So I figured, hey, let's do it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I kind of glossed over it quickly, but you played professional hockey for 8 years. That's got to be a lot of fun. And you said you signed with St. Louis and played 1 game, right? Which I didn't even know that. Tell us a little bit about that. What was that like?
Yeah, no, it was awesome. I signed a 2-year contract with them. I played in their minor league system for 2 years. I played 1 exhibition game. Point a game. We had a point a game. And I know
there you go. There you go.
You have a good buddy on that played for St. Louis, right?
Yeah.
So I know a lot of guys. He probably knows my roommate back in Worcester, Jamal Mayers. He played in St. Louis for a long time.
I know Jamal as well.
Yep. So a lot of those guys played in the NHL. A lot of my buddies there played actually for St. Louis. And anyway, it was awesome. I played 2 years in Worcester, and then I played 2 more years in the United States, and then 4 years in Europe, which was actually really, really cool. I played in Switzerland, Germany, and then Italy. So it was a pretty fun run. Living in different countries is actually really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, hockey is the only sport I played.
Oh, yeah?
So, I grew up playing hockey. So I'm originally from Alaska. If you don't play hockey up there, they actually kick you out. So, grew up watching the Anchorage Aces. I don't know if you're familiar with them back in the day. Now it's the Grizzlies, I think, up in Anchorage now. Is kind of their minor league team. But yeah, dude, like hockey was all I did. My older brother's name is Rocky. I'm Vinny, and my younger brother's name is Joey. We all played hockey.
It's got to be Italian, right? You got to be Italian.
Yeah, man. So we all played hockey together. We were like the Hanson brothers in Slapshot, just tearing up the ice. And Rocky, Vinny, and Joey were out there.
That's awesome.
That's so funny.
Obviously, you guys skated in the backyard ponds, right? It was frozen.
Oh yeah,
back when we grew up. That's the best.
Frozen ponds, street hockey, dude. Yep, all that stuff.
That's so funny.
Yeah,
never did any of that. I've done ice skating, but that's about it. Never did the fun stuff.
I mean, most of the face injuries that I have are all due to hockey. Got stitches here, cuts there. I knocked out my brother's 2 front teeth. Yep.
My first pro shift when I took my visor off, or my mask off when I played in. So I went from Boston University, and my first pro shift took my mask off. I got slap shot right here. So I had stitches from here all the way down my nose. It's a good thing I didn't, it didn't hit my eyes. So that was beneficial. So right between the eyes. So we're in the same place. Yep.
Yeah, and I see you got the Pucks to Properties podcast. Talk about that real quick.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool. We a guy in my office, Tom Mealy, and I run it. My business partner on the real estate side, he played high school and then ref for a long time, but came up with an idea that helps us not only give back to the sport, because there's a lot of hockey players that are saying, all right, what the hell am I going to do next?
Yeah.
Right. Just like me, we all, it doesn't matter what sport, but we picked obviously hockey because I played hockey, because you're always thinking about, all right, life after hockey, what do I do? Right.
Yeah.
And, think about this. If you played any type of sport in your locker room for X amount of years, you're kind of detached to reality. You're detached to, the network that you have, right? So if you go to school, you have a network, but once you're out, 3, 4, 5 years, you're like, all right, what am I going to do next? Because, think about this. I played in Europe. I didn't have any, no one in Europe is going to employ me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I come back to the United States. A lot of my buddies are all over the world. And that's the same with a lot of hockey players. So we figured, you know what, let's start a podcast of, what people do after professional sports. And obviously this was hockey. And a lot of them obviously get into real estate because of, the schedule, what real estate offers you. We make our own schedule in real estate. You can work your ass off or not work hard, right? It all depends. And for hockey players, it's just a natural progression. It's usually 2 things. They either get into real estate or get into sales.
Yeah.
Or stay in hockey, of course, whether it's coaching or
broadcasting
broadcasting, scouting, and things like that. So, but a majority of them get into real estate. So it's a really cool podcast. We got a lot of NHL guys that we interview as well. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, man. If you're looking for guests, I definitely know some people. If it's not just strictly to hockey. So a friend of mine from high school, he's from St. Louis, used to be a pitcher for the Cardinals, won a couple of World Series with them. He's still here in St. Louis. He's got like a charity that he does with an orphanage in Haiti, but he also does a bunch of real estate here in St. Louis, and
that'd be awesome.
Affordable housing and stuff. His name's Kyle McClellan. If you want to get hooked up with him, I can certainly try to do that.
Cool.
And
that'd be great.
Dude, and he's got access to everybody like Yachty and Albert and, anybody on the Blues that or the Cardinals that are doing real estate. And that's actually how I've gotten connected with other professional athletes, is actually through Kyle, because I will go on these trips. I went on one of his trips to Haiti and met some of these guys.
Awesome.
And then just become friends. Yeah.
Cool. Justin, you just learned something.
I'm learning all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I love that, Vinny. That'd be great. That'd be great if you do the intro.
Okay. Yeah. Let me write that down. And after this, we can kind of connect on that.
Cool.
Love it. That's awesome.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, cool. I wanted to, one of the reasons I wanted to have you on here, Bob, is I know I've struggled with this, but I know a lot of other people do too. And that's hiring and delegating to VAs, right? Mm-hmm. It's in real estate. It's an important tool and a big tool that can be utilized to really help just get your time back, right? And do stuff that, because my whole thing in running multiple businesses now is like, I want to focus on growing the business, not the day-to-day minutia that I shouldn't be spending time on. Right. And I think a lot of investors do that too. So, obviously, like the best choice is to hire you guys, right? And have a VA come handle everything for them. But either when that happens or if somebody's already has somebody on their team they've hired and they're struggling to manage, or things aren't going the way that they expected them to go with a VA, what are some things that you have seen and implemented that can improve those types of relationships and delegating that type of stuff? What does that usually look like?
Well, the biggest challenge I see right up front is, especially if you're a solopreneur trying to build a business, right? It's when you bring someone, whether it's a virtual assistant or you hire somebody, it's not being clear on what the tasks you want them to do, right? And that's, think about this, the multiple businesses that you run. I've made this mistake a million times, right? To where I said, all right, I know I need as an example, I know I need a disposition person, but you don't really identify exactly the tasks that you want them to do. For instance, if you want your disposition person to build a buyer's list, right? Do you set the correct metrics? You want them to call 5 different buyers every single day to build that list, right? You don't, I made that mistake by not identifying exactly what I wanted them to do. So for me, and my advice for everybody is, look at your calendar in the next 2 weeks, for the next 2 weeks, and write down all of the tasks for you that are non-producing tasks, like income, right? So you want to look at exactly what we're doing on a daily basis that doesn't put money in our pocket. So write down those tasks, and then that'll help you formulate kind of a plan of what you want to outsource. Because like you said, if you're running multiple businesses, even just a real estate business, you have so many different things you have to do. So for instance, in the real estate business, cold calling is a must. You have to call sellers. Now, if I'm my job and I'm a solopreneur and I have to call sellers every single day, and then, if you have kids or you have whatever, life gets in the way, and you block out, every Monday to Tuesday to do those calls. And then, I don't know, Vinny, you give me a call and you say, hey, Kyle wants to play golf on Monday, right? As an example, you're like, well, I can't do it because I have to call. But if I go play golf, nobody's calling, right? There's no one doing those tasks. So those are the things I always look at, is saying, all right, you have to 100% in this business, you got to consistently do tasks in order to drive the leads, to drive the revenue, to make money. So if things aren't done consistently, and you have to do them, it's going to be very, very challenging for you to do this in I started in 2004. This is a long game. Real estate's a long game. It's not a get rich quick anything. I know a lot of people, sometimes get into this because they think they want to get rich in the first, year. That's not how this game goes. It's a long game. So we have to start looking at it like that as a business.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the people that it does happen to, it's not sustainable typically. You hit the nail on the head. I've got a friend here in St. Louis that started in '99, and for the first 10 years, it was a lot of struggle. Right now, he's one of the wealthiest people I know. Right, he's just bought his second multi-million-dollar house in Arizona. Decided, I'll go buy a second one. That's no problem. But it didn't. It wasn't overnight. And the people that I have seen, if you're in this business any sort of time, you're going to see people have the overnight perceived success. And most of the time, within 18 months, you don't really hear from them anymore. Has been my experience.
well, especially you got to love it. Especially a lot of these masterminds that you and I are part of. You're like, hey, where's Jimmy? I'm like, well, because times were good, interest rates were low, and now Jimmy's gone because he actually didn't understand that you need more than one exit strategy.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Jimmy knew how to sell to hedge funds, and that was it. And now the days are over.
That's exactly right. There's a dime a dozen out of the business now, but. Well, like you said, I mean, we talked about, it's a long game, and there's ups and downs in this business, and you can't just be a one-trick pony, right? Just like your buddy buying multi-million-dollar houses, he probably has a pretty good rental portfolio now, is my guess, right?
Yeah, he has 180 right now in St. Louis that are mostly paid off.
Yep, which is phenomenal. So he's probably worth, the 20, 30, 40, $50 million. So cool.
And he has 5 other businesses that he started. So that all feed each other in real estate, right? You might know his business partner Sam Prim and Lucas Walls. They're
awesome dudes. I love them.
Their partner Brian Schroeder is the guy that started all of that stuff, and he sold those businesses to Sam and Lucas.
Awesome.
And he's awesome dude. But that's something he taught me. He's like, it's just long, slow game. He's like, but if you do it, you will be wealthy. If you give up, you won't. And if you do it too quick, you won't. So it's just that consistent thing. I loved what you said about the virtual assistants, because this is something I struggled with for a long time, was just delegating in general, where I'd tell somebody, okay, you need to go, make $100,000 in new sales this month, and then expect them to know everything and how to do everything and have the steps and processes. And even with VAs, the thing that I found in the last probably year or so, whether if it's VAs or a team member, is even if you have everything outlined on what you want, step-by-step processes, deliverable dates, how you want it formatted, everything. The one thing that I was missing, and I'm sure you've probably seen this too, is when a decision has to be made. If they don't know how you make decisions, you're going to have the same problems.
Yep.
So
Yep.
that's something I've had to focus on lately, is like, hey, if you're like our VA that we hired through you guys, for example, pulls a lot of data for us.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say she's pulling 5,000 records, but there's 12,000 available. Well, how do you decide which 5,000 to pick? So we had to go in and explain like how we make those decisions and have those processes. And it has made that relationship so much better, because now she knows, okay, I know how they make these decisions. Because that's something I've seen with VAs specifically, is they're very, very good at doing what you tell them to. They might not think outside of the box as much as you want them to, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of them are literal, right? So they tell
very
you,
literal.
They take exactly what you want them to do, and they'll do that. And it's just, I use a good example too. So we hire a lot here for our real estate company here in Connecticut, and a lot of individuals are the same as our virtual assistants. They'll be so literal, where they'll come in the office and be like, Bob, what do I do? You said pull records. You said pull data. It's like, how do you pull them? So the advice I always give is, there's no difference between hiring a virtual assistant. You got to coach and train them as well. Like, they come trained, but it's like the 80-20 rule. Your business, you guys, both your businesses, we probably run 80% of our business the same way, but it's the 20% that's the gold that changes. Maybe you use Podio, maybe I use Salesforce, maybe you use this dialer, I use this. You know what I mean? I get data here, you do marketing here. So it's just that 20% that's different, that is very important to articulate that to, whether it's an in-house team member or a virtual assistant.
Yep. Agreed. Yeah. And that's, Vinny's been around long enough with us. Like, when he started, I wasn't that great at doing some of that stuff. Like, I've had to learn. 4 years ago was even worse, where it's like, well, how do you not know? How do you not know how to do this? You should just know. And it's not, unfortunately. And it's, to me, the thing that I've seen with any business owner, and Vinny just actually started his own real estate business as well with a guy here in St. Louis. So excited to see what they're going to be doing. But like, the thing that I've really seen is the more effectively you can delegate and train people to do stuff, the quicker you're going to grow, and then the more sustainable it's going to be.
There's only one of us, right? There's only one of us.
Mm-hmm. Yep. As much as I wish there was 30 of me, there never will be.
Yeah, dude. If I could duplicate another me, oh man.
Oh yeah, I know.
I'd get so much done.
That means you could delegate a lot of stuff, right?
Yeah.
So much stuff, we could delegate.
Yeah, exactly. I'd probably get annoyed with myself, though. There's that as well.
You'd fire yourself 100%.
That's yes, because like you said at the beginning, I'm unemployable at this point. I could not. I would not do good working for somebody else.
You both mentioned it, and we talk about consistency a lot on this podcast, but like, it is just absolutely so important. And when you talk about people getting out of the business 12, 18 months later, that has a big part of it to do with it as well. Mm-hmm. Not just you didn't have, multiple exit strategies or whatever, but they just weren't consistent. They just did something and bowed out. So like, Bob, can you speak to that portion of it, of, not just like cold calling, but just consistency in general on what that's done for you in your personal, investment business, but also with Riva?
Yeah. Everything's got to be done consistent. So you look at, you go ballpoint and call Porter, right? I look at it as, if we talk about marketing, so you're starting your business, Vinny. So you have to make sure 100% you look at your calendar, you look at your monthly calendar, and you got to set, you're going to call every day, right? You have call Porter call every day. You have VAs call every day, but you also have to have marketing going out 100% consistently every single day. So if you're going to use ballpoint, right, you send out marketing every Monday as an example, right? But call Porter every day. Mm-hmm. So you have to look at these things, and it's got to be done every single day, because those leads have to come in, because if you don't have leads, you don't have a business.
Yeah.
So that's the way I look. I always look at every business. It doesn't matter, but it starts with marketing. Well, obviously branding and marketing, and everything has to be done every single day, because once it stops, and I see investors do this all the time. They say they're a rehabber, right? They get that one deal, they start a rehab, their marketing stops. It's not consistent anymore, right? I did this when I first started real estate, right? I door knocked actually when I first got into real estate, because I knew nothing. We didn't have this, but all the stuff we have right now, we didn't have it back in 2004. So I door knocked literally every single day. I got a deal, and then guess what? That stopped. So I started the rehab, ended up making 32 grand on my first deal, but I looked in the mirror after 2 months after I sold it. I had money in my pocket, but I'm like, what am I going to do now? I had no systems. I had no anything. I mean, you guys probably felt, I know, Justin, you probably have the same story there, but I see investors do that all day long, right?
I call it like a 6-figure hamster wheel. It's like you market, you get the deal, and you're like, all right, all my attention's here. And then you come back and you're like, shit, I have nothing else to, like you said, I have nothing else to do now. And it's how people get stuck, at 100 grand, 120 grand a year doing 4 deals. And it's, 100%.
Hey, you know where everything is in Home Depot, though. You know where everything is. You can work at Home Depot. But...
Yeah, absolutely.
Thankfully, my business partner is Matt Camp over at Deal Machine, who is just an absolute freaking badass at just systems and processes. And he's already set us up for the next 6 months on, getting leads, which is just absolutely cool. And we are getting leads. Like we've got a lot of good things going on right now, and it's super fun. But
so Vinny, on that side of it, you consistently now, once you have the leads, you have to consistently call them and follow up. So that is huge, and that's a
big part.
Exactly. And if you don't have time to do it, it's a great task for a virtual assistant to do, right? To where they get that warm lead and turn it into a hot lead and send it over to you. So that would be the consistency, right? You have your marketing dialed in, but now you need to consistently, because following up in any business, I know, Justin, we talked about this before, but if you don't have a proper follow-up system, you're going to be you're going to be throwing away so much money, because one lead can be $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 if you don't follow up.
Well, dude, and the things that I've seen, and it's like my brother Ryan owns a coaching group, and there's hundreds of people in there. CG, I've seen it in there, seen it in other groups, is most people are always focused on, I just need more leads. I just need more leads. I just need more leads. And then you go and look at their CRM and they have 100 leads in there. Like, you don't have a lead flow problem. You have a deal closing problem and a follow-up problem right now. That's where you need to focus your time and energy. And like, dude, it's so like, I try and point this out anytime if I'm on a sales call occasionally or helping another investor, like I'll pull up our CRM and show them our deals. And look, this person took 48 contacts before they converted to a contract, right? Not 2, not 3, not 10, like 48, like
48,
phone calls, text messages, like in-person appointments. And it's every single one, I think, was above 20 that I last looked at. And it's something that you can hope for the lay down, and they happen, but it's like 5% of the time. And if you build your business on 5%, you're in a world of trouble.
You are. And what you find too, especially when people start building teams, your sales team want the low hanging fruit. They're like, oh, we don't have enough leads. They're like, dude, you have, like you said, you have 30 to work on this week. That's almost too many leads, because what they do is they'll go to the top, they don't answer, and they're like, oh, I need more leads. Like, no, you actually have to follow up. You got to text, call, right? So and people forget that. So that's a great point. And that's part of Vinny we talked about. That's a consistency. If you don't have that consistent, so we have a dashboard in our office. So we see how many people, dial and how many calls they do, what's the talk time, etc. So we have kind of a scoreboard that we look at every single day. We do the same thing for our virtual assistants on the follow-up side of it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah.
Yep.
We have a fractional lead management service here called Porter, and just talked to a guy yesterday that's signing up, and his issue is pretty much that, Justin, where he was like, I have all these other leads, but I get focused on the new shiny ones that come in. And he's like, so those are more warm, those are hotter. So I focus on those, but the ones that I actually talk to,
you already paid for them.
3 weeks.
You already paid for them. And there's
Yeah.
so much money, and there's so much freaking
So much
money
money.
in all of those
Yeah.
old deals.
Yeah.
And people understand this is one of the things, and this is kind of a mindset shift a lot of people have to understand, is that we don't know what the hell is going on in someone's life, right? It could
Right.
change
3
tomorrow.
months
It could
easy.
change.
Yeah.
It could change
Yep.
Yeah.
next week. So that's the beauty of why that we always have to follow up. I had that tough time too when I first started. I'm like, oh, we need more leads. We need more leads. We're doing a crap ton of door knocking, a crap ton of direct mails back in 2004. I had the same problem. Like, we need more leads. We need more leads. No, I need to get on the phone and follow up. It was a me problem. It wasn't, a marketing problem at all.
Yeah.
Totally. And it's funny too, because it translates to other businesses. Like even in Ballpoint and Call Porter, we guarantee you we have more business in our existing customer base than we do in the new customers we're going to be bringing in.
Yep.
Like time and time again, it's proven true. Like especially like even real estate stuff. If you look at what you pay per lead, direct mail is just because it's the easiest thing I know. You're paying $250, $300 a lead that's coming in. Like you've got 100 leads in there, you got 30 grand put in there to get there. Like work those leads.
Yeah.
Your existing database.
Yeah, that's with Call Porter. Very, very rarely does somebody on the first call, right, say, hey, I'm signing up. It's so rare. So, I have a pipeline of like 1,900 leads that we've paid for over the last couple of years. Just got an Excel sheet, even from the previous sales team, Justin, that we won't go there. And
mistakes were made.
still closing deals off of those, so the follow-up is super important. And then also if you're doing it yourself, like just don't get offended, have some thick skin, know, and I always tell people at Call Porter and Ballpoint when they get, kind of pissed off about follow-ups, I'm like, dude, if you're getting pissed off about a follow-up from me and you're in this business in real estate, you probably got to think a little bit,
Right. Well, I mean, it's true. Just like you said, you have a database of 1,900, right? Same thing with us. We do over, 50 to 60 consultations a week, right? So, out of those 50 to 60, you're going to convert X percent. And then, you have 80% of them that don't sign up today, but are follow-up. So before you know it, it's the same thing as real estate, right? You have individuals that were interested in it, but not ready to invest today, but they may be ready to invest, next month, like you guys were saying. So we have the same thing. Every business is the same. You're right.
Yeah. But cool. I just love we got on that consistency part, because again, it's just absolutely important, and we drive it home pretty much every podcast. Like the guy yesterday that I did the podcast with, Justin, I mean, it was the same thing with him. Like he for this first 6 months was consistent in his mail. Didn't get hardly any results. I think he said he made $12,000 in his first 6 months. It was like, this isn't working. He's like, something's wrong, but he was consistently doing things. He's like, you know what? I'm just going to stick with it, man. I'm just going to I'm going to do this. He was he's living with a bunch of buddies. So he's only paying like $500 in rent. And his second 6 months was like 180 grand.
Yeah.
Because he went and was like, you know what? I'm doing this regardless of of what's going on right now. And it panned out just because of that consistency piece
is he a young kid? Is he younger?
He was at that point. Yeah. So that was, I think he was like
early 30s
at that
now.
point. Yeah. He's early 30s now. So he's like 23, 24 at that point, but it's just a super cool story to hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love hearing that, because you see the younger individuals sometimes, especially, it's a lot different. I mean, I don't know how old you guys are, but I'm a little older, and the consistency and the level of patience on the younger individuals today is a lot less than what we have now. I mean, we're battle tested. We're battle tested because we've gotten beat up in this business for a long time, and you have a lot more patience over time. But the younger individuals, it's their patience is like minimal.
Dude, I tried starting stuff when I was 21, and it lasted like a month and a half, and I was like, screw this, I'm just gonna go get another job, and then got to the point where I was like, I was 26, 27 when I was finally like, all right, I'm done with everything I'm doing. I just need to do something myself. But yeah, that's I see it in my son. He's 13, and I'm like, bro, you have no patience. Like
I know.
you have it way too easy.
I have a 20-year-old, so I'm like, I have 20-year-old, 16 and 14. I'm like, yeah, the patience level is not the same. I mean, they got this phone here dinging every second of the day with Snapchat and all this other crap that they have.
Instant gratification. It's like, oh, I want a burrito, and you just get on your phone and order it, and it comes to your house. Like it's just so it's so quick.
So you'll enjoy this on Tuesday. I know this does not have anything to do with real estate or virtual assistants.
That's all right. We love this stuff, man.
My youngest is 14, and he had a hockey game, and I'm bringing him home. I'm like, so what do you want to eat? He's like, oh, I want a burger. I said, all right, let's go to Five Guys. He's like, no, I don't want Five Guys. I'll go to Wendy's. I'll order DoorDash. I'm like, hold on. I kid you not. I'm like, hold on. He's like, yeah, it's gonna be $25. I kid you not. I'm like, I'm not paying $25 for a freaking hamburger at Wendy's. I'm like,
right.
It's 5 minutes down the road.
Yeah.
Like, and he's hemming and hawing. I'm like, dude, you kidding me? I am not spending $25 for a freaking hamburger at Wendy's. No way. That's where I draw the line.
Dude, it's so funny. So we'll stay on this topic for a minute, and it's totally fine because we talk personal stuff on here too. But Vinny told me, dude, it was probably our third or fourth podcast. He told me about the chore system that he does with his kids, where they start the week with $10 is what they can make for the week. And when they don't do things, it goes down by 25 cents. Right. So, and then they can earn it back,
do 50 cents back.
Oh, you're doing 50 cents now?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I might change it too. Yeah. But, so we started doing that. And now my son he's the oldest. So he's making, $40 a month or whatever on top of it. And it's like the second it hits his bank account, I want to spend it. I'm like, no. I'm going to teach you what I didn't learn as a kid, and that's how to be smart with the money you have and not just blow it immediately.
Yeah,
right. That's actually really good.
We made a rule on the allowance. They can't spend it on Roblox.
I
did say no more Fortnite money. Yeah, I was like, you're not spending this on Fortnite.
I banned Fortnite in my house. They're not even allowed to do it anymore. But yeah, like there's some rules and stipulations on, what they can and can't spend their money on. But, just trying to like teach them what you're doing. Like there's things you can do, even investing, like teaching them kind of, like Jackson once talked about Bitcoin. I was like, I don't know anything about that, bro. And that's like old news, I'm pretty sure now. So
it's not a buzzword anymore.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, what we've done with them is like they can use 20% of whatever they're making. So like 20%, we'll figure out whatever you want to do it on, but we're not doing it on stupid virtual Fortnite money where you're just going to waste your money. We'll do it on tangible stuff, but the other 80% is in there for savings, and then we'll teach them how to invest and things like that. Right. So yeah, it's funny though, seeing the impatience play out. I get paid Friday afternoon, and it's like 30 minutes later, I get an Amazon link. Can I have this?
Well, no, hey, it's equivalent to. I mean, let's anchor that back to real estate. It's the same thing. I mean, you have if you're in the rehab world, that's why you don't pay contractors or workers on Thursday because they don't show up Friday. It's the same exact kind of concept. Once your kids have money, man, they're going to spend it. So be careful. Obviously, anyone listening to this that is a rehabber and they're hiring people, because my father was a contractor growing up, and he stopped paying everyone Thursday because they wouldn't show up Friday.
Interesting. That makes sense though.
Yeah, because they're going to head to the bar, right?
Weekend.
Yeah, they're going to head to the bar.
Yep. So. Interesting. Well, switching gears with real estate stuff, you have on the form that we had you fill out talking about shiny object syndrome story. I've got a lot of thoughts on shiny object stuff, but I want to hear this story that you have on here about losing $150K on a knockdown rebuild.
Yeah, that was back in 2005. So we had a can't miss deal. It was going to make a crap load of money. You had to put a non-refundable deposit on today because tomorrow is gone, right?
Yep.
Obviously, you could tell in my voice that I never did that after that beat down that I got. So put down $150,000 non-refundable. It was a knockdown rebuild in Greenwich, Connecticut, right down the street of Regis Philbin, back in the day. And it was a very, very nice place, right? So we had a whole modular thing set up. Our partner was going to bring a modular rebuild. And you got to understand, I knew nothing about it. And again, I'm not a new build guy at all, right? I could flip a property. I could rehab a property. I'm not a knockdown rebuild guy at all. So especially 2004 when I just started. This was in 2005. So can't miss deal.
That's pretty early in.
Yeah, pretty early in. But again, shiny object syndrome. So put the deposit down. We had to fight. So literally we had to fight an attorney in Greenwich, which was $425 an hour at that time. So before you know it, was another $10,000. And we're like, all right. I put my hands up. I'm like, before we get in more debt, we had to just walk. So we cut our losses and, walk. And shiny object syndrome, I'm not too, I don't really do that anymore after that beat down I got. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's an important thing too, that I try and anytime someone asks, or I see it with people I work with or whatever, is there's usually 3 reasons people fail in business, real estate as well specifically, but it's again, the lack of marketing, the lack of follow-up that we talked about, but it's also shiny object syndrome and not focusing on one thing, right? Like I talked to a guy this morning who he's focusing on like 9 things right now. And he's like, nothing's working. Like, yeah, because you're trying to do 9 things at once. Like, I mean, you could relate it to hockey. Like if you were trying to play hockey, basketball, football, and soccer all at the same time, you wouldn't have been good at any of them.
But, unless you're Bo Jackson, right?
Yeah, unless you're that guy.
There's one Bo Jackson.
At least Deion Sanders and
that's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah. Was it Michael Jordan that tried playing baseball for like a week or something like that?
Yeah.
Like, there, so focusing on just the one thing and getting, because I do this with marketing, but like if we're in a business, we focus on one marketing channel first, perfect it, understand it, know the KPIs we're looking for, and then move on to something else. Because we've tried in the past of doing direct mail, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube all at once, and nothing performed because there's no focus there, and you have those shiny objects. And I don't know if you deal with this anymore. I've gotten a lot better, but going to mastermind events, you come home and you're like, I have 9 things I want to implement now, and I can't do them all.
Well, and I know your brother's got a education program too. A lot of times it's just lack of education, right? So you don't learn or understand what that. So you said that the guy you talked to has 9 things. I guarantee he's not an expert in one of those, right? No. So if he has 9 things he wants to do, he hasn't educated himself. And I'm a huge, I look at education as a must, right? Not back in school, that's a lot different now, but I'm talking about business education, right? So investing in a coaching program, investing in a mastermind, I think 100% everybody should do that without a doubt. And again, I don't have a coaching program at all. I don't, I was in the education space back in the day, but and I don't have any, but I think everybody should either do masterminds, coaching programs, or something like that, because you have a network of individuals in that program, right? A community, right? And you could gravitate to the ones that are successful, not the ones that aren't successful, but gravitate towards the ones that are successful to help pick you up. So I think it's very, very important.
Yep. And the cost is minimal compared to the amount of value you get out of it. Like even if it's 20 grand a year, that you're going to make that back 5 times, 10 times easily that year. Yeah.
It may feel like a lot today because once you're stroking that check or you're, swiping your credit card today, it hurts, but trust me, in a year, you're gonna be like 20 grand is nothing, right? You will get there. Right. So,
yeah, dude, I've said this on, I think 1 or 2 other previous podcasts, but the first coaching mastermind group we ever did, looking back, was like the worst financial decision to make. The decision that it panned out very well, but it was $7,500 a month when we were making like 22 grand a month. You know what I mean? Like it was like 30% of the revenue that was coming in, but within a year we were, close to 80,000-90,000 a month because of that. And it's just learning from those people. And like you said, rely on the people that are successful and learn from them, because that's what they're there for.
Yeah. And it's funny in real estate, the beauty of what we do on a daily basis, you started in real estate. You probably never thought you'd have call porter or ballpoint, right? It just morphed into a need out there. I never thought I'd have a virtual assistant company. I started investing back in 2004. I started it because the coaching program I was running, students needed help doing the tasks. I'm like, there's got to be something out there that can help them, just like call porter, right? There's got to be a service out there that will help the students. And then, I heard about what a virtual assistant was in 2013. I'm like, let me hire one. Let me see. And then 2014, all of a sudden I'm like, you know what? There could be a business here. Yeah, there could be a business. Yeah.
That's how we started. Like my brother started both of them, but they both came from a need in his own business. And we come from the call center world. So that was our first company that started. And he was like, I'm just going to hire somebody from the warranty industry and have them take my calls, because Pat Live's not working out. Like nothing's working for me.
Yeah.
And it just turned into Call Porter. And then once I was involved in that, then a couple of years down the road, like same thing with marketing. Like how can we make our mail better? How can we make response rates stick and spend less or spend more, but get less cost per deal? And it turned into Ballpoint. It's those things that just kind of naturally occur. I wouldn't be surprised if there's something else in 3 years, right?
Yeah.
Like,
well, and anyone who's listening, obviously, to this podcast, just have the confidence that one day, you never know where you're at today. It's not going to be the same place where you're at next year or the year after or 5 years, because time flies, and you have an opportunity to make a lot of money in this business, not only in real estate, but also on the ancillary services that you can create. And it's not shiny object. It's just filling a need or a void out there that you can fill by being creative and actually listening to people's needs.
Yeah. Well, the guy I mentioned locally, that's all he did. He started in real estate. Then he made a title company. Then he made an education company. Then he made a lending company. Then he made a rehab and he had a rehab company. They all served each other. And like now they're one of the biggest companies in St. Louis. It's wild, but that's how it works. Yeah.
Yeah. I know for me, like, so I just turned 40 last week. I know I look 25.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Thanks. And, I feel like I've come late to the game. Right. And it can be, it's in between my ears, right? My mind gets to me like, oh man, I'm too old for this. I've missed the mark, and it's just certainly not true.
His mind.
What's that? Oh, sorry. I thought you said
froze.
something. I don't know why.
No,
I don't know
you
why.
froze just like this. When your hands are like this, you froze in my mind, and then you froze.
Oh gosh, I don't know why I'm freezing. I've looked at my internet. It's like perfect. I don't know what's going on. But I do know that Riverside just keeps going.
Though,
so
it's
I see Justin freezing a little bit.
Oh, he froze again. He freeze for you too.
Again. Yep.
Justin, I don't think it's me because it says on the top
come back.
Having issues connecting with their servers.
How often do you do your podcast?
So we record right now. We're recording twice a week. So yeah, it's we were doing once a week, but we wanted to get some extra episodes in there, so in the summer we can take some time off and still have content going out.
Yeah.
And not have to be here every single week doing it. So yeah. How about you?
We do it. We try to do it once a week. But sometimes, so before we actually released it, I think we had 4 to 8 episodes. So, just like you, if you don't do it 1 week, you still could release one.
Yeah. Cause what we were doing was we record Wednesday, release the next Wednesday, every single week. And it was working well, but then it like came to Christmas and we're like, oh, I don't want to do on the week of Christmas and then throw off the cadence of everything. So we're, I think all of February and all of March, we're doing 2 a week.
Nice.
There's a couple extras in there here and there, but yeah, trying to load it up so we can keep stuff going with all the travel and stuff we'll be having over the summer.
Does it, do you find it drives you some pretty good business, or is it more just branding?
So it's been interesting. So it's definitely driven more business to Ballpoint and Call Porter indirectly, I think, just by being out there. But what's been the most interesting thing for me is just the relationships that we've had from it that have panned out in other ways too. So like there's doing like partnering with some people on some deals, lenders, things like that have kind of come up from it. Has been really cool, but also just like meeting new people on our podcast that I never would have known before, that have started to become some decent friends as well, has been really cool too. So yeah,
cool.
It's helped me a lot to just be better on camera too. Like I used to hate being on camera and like, didn't know where to look or, whatever. So we filmed ads in January for a week we had a whole video crew here and everything. And it was like, no issues at all. I was like, all right, cool. So I'm getting much more comfortable speaking and being on camera and things like that. So
and you realize that it doesn't matter if you mess up because nobody even notices it. It doesn't. Dude, so back in the day, this is actually funny. So Than Merrill, Fortune Blues. So he was,
Yeah.
yeah. So this was back, shit. I think this was 2000, let's say 2000, I think it's 2007. And I never spoke on stage before. And
Okay.
there's 350 people in LA. And you know Pat Precourt, right?
Oh
Do you know
yeah.
Pat?
Yeah. I haven't talked to him in a
Yeah.
while, but yeah.
Yeah. So he was supposed to, so Van couldn't go. This is out in LA and, it was a free event and we were selling mastery and I had a short sell course back in the day. And, he's like, he calls Pat. He's like, Pat, I can't do it. Could you take the event for me? It was one full day. The second day was a fucking pitch fest and a half, like a pitch fest, like just selling products. And so, Pat's father was sick and he's passing away at the time. Pat's like, dude, I can't do it. I'm like, fuck you. I never spoke. There's 350 people. I'm like,
Yeah.
so anyway, he couldn't go. I went up there. I ended up speaking for 8 hours. So, and I'm selling a product and a coaching program. I'm like, so literally I taught my whole course and my sales pitch was like, I'll buy you drinks at the end of the day if you buy my course. I didn't know what I was doing,
Yeah.
but that was
Yeah.
my first sales pitch. And I ended up selling like three coaching slots, and it wasn't bad. I mean, if you look at it, it was an awful close rate, but
Yeah.
I realized though the next day. So my point was, I realized the next day it was what's this guy's name? Can't remember. He's selling a foreclosure course, but he had
Okay.
a whole act. He had a whole act going, and he started with an introduction, and it was music and all this kind of crap, and all of a sudden his audio went out. It was 10 minutes in. He stopped, went all the way back, and redid the intro. And I'm like, is anyone actually seeing what I'm seeing right
Bro.
now? And I'm like,
Everyone's just sitting there.
Nobody cared. He mopped it up. And I'm like, all right, now nobody gives a shit.
Yeah.
So if you mess up, it doesn't matter. So that was the time I'm like, dude, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, that was a thing for me. I started, so I do some work in a coaching group that I'm involved in here in St. Louis and do some speaking with them. And we do like 2-day workshops every other month, essentially, on just like mindset stuff. And the first time we did it, like, dude, I was so nervous to do it. And like the whole time I was like, this is so easy. Like no, people don't care about, they're not as judgy as you think they are, I think is the easy way to say it. Like you have the thought of like, everyone's going to judge me or I'm not good enough or whatever. And it's like, dude, I thought I bombed some stuff, and I'd have people come up, they're like, that was one of the best things you could have said. And I was like, oh,
yeah,
cool. I'm glad that was helpful. I would not have picked up on that because it seems simple to me, but I've been also working on this stuff for 6-7 years now at this point.
Yep.
So, Vinny just texted me. It looks like his, they have an internet outage in his neighborhood. So all good. So, let's.
So you want to just keep going with us and then wrap it up?
Yeah. I mean, we're pretty close to the wrap up point. We can edit some of this stuff out, but
cool.
Yeah. So let's go ahead.
Yeah, or whatever. If you want to reschedule, whatever you want to do.
No, you're good, man. Yeah. So Vinny's internet went out, so we're gonna finish up here with kind of our final question here. 48 minutes is when we're editing out. But one thing we always like to try and end with is, if someone's new, right? Someone's listening to this podcast, they're brand new. The whole point of this is to help people get their next deal, right? So if you're talking to a new person, what's the one thing they could do, implement, change, tweak in their business to help them get the next deal?
Consistent marketing. I know we touched upon that. That one's very, very easy for me, because if you don't market, you don't have a business. So you have to consistently market. That's by bar none the most important thing I think anybody could do. Even if you've been in business for a long time or new, it's the same thing. You've got to consistently market, period.
Yep. Don't need your system set up yet. You don't need a team yet. Don't need to delegate anything yet. You need leads.
Don't worry about an LLC or any of that crap. Just start marketing. I know people get caught up. Oh, I don't know the name of my LLC. Don't worry about that. Just start marketing.
Start marketing, and I'm a big fan of building your parachute on the way down, right?
Yep.
You don't know, someone who does know. Just ask them. They'll tell you.
Yep. Agreed.
Awesome. Love it, man. Well, I know we had a little bit of technical difficulties on Vinny's side, but I appreciate you hopping on today. This was a lot of fun. It was great catching up with you and chatting with you again. And For people listening, what's the best way for them to reach out if they're interested in working with Riva Global?
Absolutely. You can check us out. We're all over the internet, of course. We do this podcast can be posted, obviously, not only on yours, but we also promote that. You go to Riva Global, REVA Global.com. Like I said, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, all those kind of things. My email is bob@rivaglobal.com if you want to reach me out direct. If you have any questions about anything, just reach out.
Perfect, man. Well, I appreciate it, and I'll again speak for you guys. We've loved working with the VA that we've got. It's been probably 3 or 4 months now that we've been working with her, and absolutely love working with her. So, couldn't recommend you guys enough, and appreciate you hopping on today, man.
Awesome. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, man.